when I take a portrait, I'm usually analyzing someone's features. What do I want to showcase? What things do I want to draw attention away from? But when I'm shooting fashion or I'm shooting beauty, it's, okay, what is the attention? Where is the attention supposed to be in this shot? What beautiful assets of this model am I trying to draw attention to? And so for this particular shot, what we've used is very, very simple props. We have 2 headbands wrapped around her head to create an interesting crisscross, and then also simply some hair ties on a braid. So you turn to the side for me, and you'll be able to take a look at that shape. So knowing that this is where I'm drawing attention to, I already know that I'm not going to want to create this shot straight on, because straight on you miss all of that. You'll just see a little bit of the frame of her face. So sometimes I go into a set knowing roughly the angles I'm going to shoot. I'll be shooting the model from the side, maybe 3/4, maybe totally in profile. So that will affect the way I approach the lighting. Now, I always ask myself, what's the shot about, to figure out the lighting. I can figure out the placement. For modifiers, I feel like if I shoot with really hard modifiers, maybe it'll create too many shadows to see these intricate details. It might work, but for this shot, I decided to go with a 3-foot Octabox. You could use an umbrella with diffusion of similar size, or a softbox that's a little bit bigger, but this is what I'm going to do as my starting point. So I'm going to shoot this. I'm going to be shooting tethered, and so as I shoot tethered, I'll be able to tweak it and see kind of the nuances of the light. But let me just start with a 3-foot Octabox off to the right-hand side, and we'll see kind of where I'm starting with this shot. So let me take a quick test. Haven't taken a look at my settings yet, but I know I want to shoot somewhere around my usual settings, 1/200th of a second, f11, ISO 200. So, all right, let me take a quick test here. All right. So taking a look at this shot, where I have the softbox right now isn't flattering light on the face. I get a lot of great attention to the braid in the back of her head, but if you look at the texture of the light on her face, the way it rakes across, it's not really that flattering. And it's not flattering to the shape of her face. It's not sculpting it out. It's not shaping her jawline or her cheekbones. It's kind of just lighting from the side. So I could bring that Octabox over to this side, but if I bring it over to the other side, the back of the head will fall to shadow, and part of what I think is interesting is that braid. So I think that a good solution would be to light more or less straight on, flat on. But if I shoot flat on, the Octabox might be in my shot and also won't have much sculpting. So I'm going to shoot it centered to camera, but also higher up. So that higher angle is going to sculpt out the subject's features, but also give me lighting from left to right. So let's give that a try. Something like this. Somewhere approximately here, we'll see. Okay. And we'll see if this is going to be in my shot. I think to elongate her neck, I'm going to have her lean forward. And when she leans forward, it will lower her angle. So I don't think this will be in my shot. And then if I get at a lower angle somewhere down here, which makes her look taller, then the Octabox isn't my shot. So I think it will work. So let me just take a look here. And my exposure, it was actually just a total guess. It looks pretty close to where it should be. Not too bad. I'm looking at my histogram, and it's a little bit dark, but really not too bad. I think it's a pretty flat image. So I think it's probably where it should be. All right, so perfect. Let's test this. Okay, great, good. So this light is much better. It's still lighting the front and back of her face. The front of the face isn't quite as flattering of light as I'd like it to be, but it's a little bit more even. So I'm seeing the crisscross of the headpieces and the braid. So I like the light on the clavicles. I like the light on the shoulders. I like the light on her jawline. That all looks good, but I think it needs something else. And the thing I keep mentioning, the thing I keep coming back to, is the light on the front of her face. It's just not that flattering. So I think I'm going to bring in another softbox. And for the softbox, if I light from the front, it'll kind of just flatten the shot because it's already pretty flat light. I would like to add more dimension. So if I light from the front, it just kind of fills in the shadows. I think what would add a bit more shape, a bit more interest, is to actually bring in a second softbox as a rim light. Because what that is going to do, instead of flattening out the shot, it's going to give definition to her profile. So what that means is I get attention to her beauty as well as the features in the hair and of the headpiece. So it's kind of drawing attention to the things that I want to draw attention to in this shot. So I'm going to add a strip softbox. In this case, it's a 1x4. And I'm not exactly sure where I want to put it yet, but that's what's helpful about modeling lights, is I can kind of test this. So let me see. I'm going to actually turn off my main light so I can see what the modeling light of that rim light is doing. So lean forward for me. So roughly where it is, it's lighting her eyes, which is great because I'm going to have a really beautiful catch light in her eye. In the previous shot, 0 catch lights. No catch lights at all. That strip softbox now is giving that to me. It's also giving me attention on her cheekbones at the top of them, which looks nice, and then also defining her lips. I also really like the way the light is raking across her shoulders. So let me take a shot without my main light on. Just want to really see what this rim light is doing. I haven't metered it. See if it's close. Okay, so it is way too bright. It's way too bright as is. But taking a look at it, the shape looks pretty decent. I started with the height of that strip softbox about even with her face, or maybe a little bit higher. If it were lower, it would start to be bottom light. So instead of drawing attention to her cheekbones and lighting the side of her face, it would actually light underneath her jaw, which is the opposite from what I want to do. So I'm going to turn this down in power. And it looks like, I'm going to guess I need to turn it down like a stop and a half. I'm not going to go by meter readings for this one because I'm going to kind of judge. Do I want the rim light to be brighter or do I want it to be dimmer? So I'm going to try to go with feel on this one. So let me turn on my main light again and we'll see. I'll try to balance what that rim light looks like. Let me test it again. So it's pretty good. That's a lot more subtle. And you'll see it's kind of drawing your attention both to the headpiece and the braid, but also to her eyes and to her features. So I like this shot. It's pretty good. I can't decide if I want it in color or black and white yet, so it's totally fine. Either would be acceptable. And at this point in a shoot, I might play around with it just a little bit. Like I might come over and test. Like let's see what it's in black and white. Let's pop those highlights a little bit, maybe darken it down. Increase the contrast, because that suddenly looks pretty rich. It's got a lot of pop to it. It makes it really graphic. And one of the things I like about the headpieces and the braid is that it's graphic. So I'm going to leave that as is, and I'm going to turn it so that the develop settings are same as previous, so meaning as it comes in with the tether, it's going to have that effect applied. I might use this in color later on. It's totally fine. So I think pretty good to go. The highlights, I'm looking at my histogram, the highlights from the rim light are not overexposed, so that's pretty good. And overall, it looks like a pretty good balanced photo. So now it's about getting the angles right. I considered all the different things for where to place my light, and now it's about long neck, connection with the camera, or drawing attention to the graphic shape. I'm going to be shooting with my Canon 5D Mark IV, and I'm going to be shooting with a 70 to 200 millimeter lens. And so I'll be varying my focal length for those, but probably a little bit on the wider side so I can get a little bit wider on this headshot. All right, that's perfect. Great, and now can you give me a little more shape to the front shoulder? Looks a little flat, yeah. And then head to your right a little bit. Perfect. Since she moves her head to the right, I catch the light from the strip softbox. When it comes back to me, I don't. And then hide your right arm again. That like bring it forward. Yeah. A little bit further forward, a little bit further. Good. And then give me more shape to that front shoulder. Good. And then come back towards me a little. Great. All right, now I'm getting a tiny bit of lens flare from the strip softbox far left of my frame. It's not terrible, but what I could do is I could add a grid. What a grid will do is it'll prevent the spread of light. It kind of focuses the beam a little bit, so that would help. I could also put up a gobo or flag, something to block the light, but I could also pull it out just like a couple inches out of the frame. and moving it back just a couple inches. And then I'll compensate by turning it up a tiny bit in power. That should do the job. And it's really minimal lens flare, so it's not bad at all. All right, let's do a couple more of those. And bring that left shoulder up just a little. And then try a couple where you come back with towards camera with your shoulders so I can see more of your chest. Yeah, beautiful. But I'm gonna try to bring this braid over. So keep your hand here. Let's try it right there. Beautiful. Oh, I love that. I'm gonna get low, long lines. That's so pretty. That's great. Beautiful. And I'm getting that backlight across her neck, which is really pretty. I really like that. Beautiful. Okay, so now, same thing, but bring your left shoulder forward just a little, like your left arm. Put your left arm on your thigh, like this arm, left arm in the thigh, yeah. And then pull it back just a bit. Okay, let's try this. And then rotate towards me, right, a little less, right there. And what I'm saying this is I'm watching for at what point the light's on her shoulders, because when she comes back, turn towards me a little, I lose it. I lose the light on her clavicles and across her shoulders there. But if she turns to the right, I catch it. And I like that kiss of light. So that's what I'm trying to watch for in this shot. If I can actually see the chest, I want the light across it. If she's turned away, I don't care where the light is on the chest. Perfect. Beautiful. And lower the back shoulder, the right shoulder, lower it just a little. Beautiful. And then chin down. And real strong expression in your eyes. Yeah. And clench your jaw again. That looked interesting. It's cool. All right, great. So now, try it one more time. Instead of the arm way out, bring it back just, yeah. Let's see. And pull back your left shoulder really far. The other one. Yeah, right there. Pull it back. Good. I'm going to try. Pull it back just a bit more for me. Just a little, like, right there. Okay, here we go. Thank you. Good and strong. And head towards me a little. Just a little. All right, and try a couple more turned away, and I'm super happy. The light looks dramatic and beautiful. Great. And then chin that way just a little, and then pull this elbow back. Yeah, let's see. Let's try this. Beautiful. Chin down, that looked nice. Chin down and out, perfect. And do that chin down again. That looked really nice. And get a straight line. Perfect. Hold on. That's beautiful. Okay, so I definitely have the shot that I was looking for. I started off with a softbox. I figured I wanted a little bit softer light, but when it was to the side, because I wanted to draw attention to her neck and to the headpiece and to the braid, her face just wasn't being lit well. So I put the light centered and a little bit higher, because higher up would carve out her cheekbones, give a little bit of dimension, a little shape, but having it centered would light everything evenly. But even then, there was no sparkle to her eyes. There was no flattering light on her face. So I added a back strip light, and that back strip light drew attention to her profile, but also a beautiful benefit is that sometimes it would rake across her chest and give that definition, or other times it would give a little highlight to the shoulder. So instead of the photo being flat, it gave just one more level of dimension and drew attention to the features I thought were beautiful. All of this as well as her beautiful profile.